And with a huge rugby game coming up on Saturday night at Eden Park as the All Blacks defend their winning streak in New Zealand against the Wallabies, we're very pleased to be welcomed by a special guest, a man who knows a lot about beating the Wallabies on New Zealand soil, the great Dagg, joining us live from Auckland. Izzy, how you going, mate? You fired up for the Bledisloe?
I am absolutely fired up, and now I've seen the team, a few interesting selections, mate. I'm fizzing. You're dead right. I've had some quality games against the Wallabies. I got one nice stat that I love to say proudly. I've never lost to the Wallabies ever in my time in the black jersey. I've had some close ones, but I've had all wins bar one. We drew against the Wallabies years ago. I feel a bit gutted for this because it was Kevin Mialamu's 100th game, and we drew against them over in Brisbane. But, mate, nothing better than playing against Australia for the Bledisloe. Obviously, the Bledisloe is tied away now, put back in the cupboard, but there's still so much to play for, lads. And I guess this week's even better with all the edge and what's been going on off the field. It's makes for an interesting matchup this Saturday.
Yeah, there's certainly no shortage of talking points of controversy that us media types can get stuck into in the lead up to this Bledisloe test. But might as well we'll sort of touch on a bit of your history against the Wallabies because there is plenty of it. The Bledisloe Cup, I don't know how you guys treat it in the All Black camp, but is that sort of your 1A when you're talking about your goals for every season? You want to make sure the Bledisloe's put back in the trophy cabinet and you add another year onto that winning streak?
That is it. That is at the top. That is at the top of our minds. Look, just going back so much history, you know how hard it is to win it, and it's even harder to retain it. So you just never, ever want to be that team, knowing what the guys before us have done to get the trophy back, and a lot of heartbreak. John Eales and Wellington kicking that last-minute goal. Who would have ever thought John Eales, everyone, would kick that goal at Westpac Stadium to retain the Bledisloe? So just knowing the history behind the trophy. And look, let's be honest, it's a beautiful cup. It's obviously you can fill it up with that many beers and you can enjoy it post-match, but just the work that's got to be done to win it and to retain it. So, look, it's at the top of our minds every single year. And look, Aussie, they're our closest foes. We love them. We hate them. Let's be completely honest. There is no worse feeling than you go down against the Australia and you've got to hand over that trophy. It's a bit like the other day when my Hawke's Bay got beaten and they had to hand over that Ranfurly Shield. Yes, Paulie Moati, that would have been very hard for Tom Parsons to hand that to Duplessis Karifi, but that's what sport's about. And these are just one of those little parts of sport that's so much history behind it that makes it what it is today. The Bledisloe Cup. Even yourselves, your fans, your pundits, you love it. And I guess it's the same for the boys. So I'm glad we got that done last week in weird circumstances. Let's say that. I thought it was done and dusted, but we got the job done. And now the trophy's put away for another year. So I want to say this one line. One more year, Aussie. One more year.
Oh, that is beautiful. Yeah. Glad we got that, but I feel like you deserve a right to reply there, Paul. After what do you
got, Paul? Hey?
Yeah. Well, I think the bulk of New Zealand probably rejoiced last Saturday night, knowing that the log of wood was going to return to its rightful home.
Disagree.
Right here at the foot of Mount Victoria. And of course it goes on the line again this Saturday afternoon footy at the stadium against a very, very strong Waikato side who will be hurting after that loss to Otago down south. That's the worst thing that could have happened in terms of Wellington was Waikato losing the week before they come up for a challenge. So they're obviously, and they're favourites with the bookies as well, Waikato. So but if the boys can just put another performance, that defensive effort, if they can replicate that defensive effort that they did up at McLean Park last weekend, do the same thing in Wellington this weekend, our log of wood's here all summer. Now, let's not worry about that. We'll lock it in the cabinet, put it away. Oh, it'll probably travel around a few of the boys' houses first. They'll all look after it. But back to the Bledisloe, I'm happy that it's locked up. I'm really, really happy that it's locked up. And even though Eden Park has been such a stronghold for All Black rugby, I'm just concerned because this is an All Black team. This is an All Black team that has stopped trends, stopped long-standing, I guess, just it's. I don't want to go there, but I look at it and I think they've done it. Ireland have come over. They've done something they've never done before. Argentina have come here. They've done something they've never done before. Is this the year where Australia come over and do something that they haven't done here for 21 years, obviously?
Well, like, you can speak to that, Izzy, right? You've played many tests at Eden Park. The 2011 World Cup semi-finals, a game that'll live forever in my heart, your heart, I'm sure, all of New Zealand's hearts. What, going into Eden Park with a full crowd, knowing everyone in there's behind you, it's a place the All Blacks haven't lost for so long. How does that make you feel as an All Black running out onto that park?
Well, it's look, you hate to say it, you don't want to begrudge the rest of New Zealand, but that is the All Blacks' home. That is our cauldron, that is the fortress, and I guess it's just a place that holds so much history. The week, it's all about the week. That you're in the biggest city in New Zealand. There's so much hype. So you really cherish those moments, and then you get to Eden Park and you just see the sea of black in the stands, and you've been able to witness so many performances over the years. It's just a place you want to play Test rugby because of what's going on. But and I can understand where you're coming from, Paulie, the uncertainty of where the All Blacks are at the moment, because they are vulnerable, they are gettable, and other teams have seen that. And there's an element of confidence amongst the opposition. They can come here knowing what Ireland did, knowing what Argentina did, and get the job done. And look, I'm not fully confident yet on this team. These were put back-to-back performances, and we got the job done. Whether that last game was a performance that they're proud of, probably not. Knowing the All Blacks, they strive for perfectness and perfection, and they want to get the job done. But yeah, look, we haven't spoken about it yet. The selections this week, there's been a lot of changes. Whether that's going to disrupt the All Blacks and what they're trying to achieve, over the last couple of years, we've had no cohesiveness. We've had a lot of changes. I was talking to Stephen Fleming the other week, talking about a stat. The All Blacks, when they were very successful for those 8 years, were 91% cohesiveness, whether there was one or two changes week in, week out. So you were able to build those relationships. You were able to work on your game, gain confidence around the guys around you. At the moment, I think they're operating at around 70%. So whether that is high performing, probably not. So there's not enough opportunities and time for these players to build those relationships. So that's the one thing that I'm a little bit wary of, is so many changes. Yes, some of them are forced. Some of them could have been prevented. But that just creates a little bit of uncertainty for me. And knowing what I've witnessed, I never ever thought in my wildest dreams that I'd talking about Ireland beating us in a series back in New Zealand, talking about Argentina coming here and doing the unthinkable. And now potentially, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but potentially them going to Eden Park, full of confidence, full of edge with what's going on and what happened in that last test. Darcy Swain getting 6 weeks, which I don't really want to go there, but that's a shambles. Should have been longer. But yeah, there's just a little bit added want here, a little bit added edge. So I'm worried, and hopefully the lads can prove me wrong, and we can draw on that Eden Park fortress and our home, and hopefully that can inspire the team to go out there and look. You're dead right. We've created some records that we're not proud of, but records are there to be broken. And I think when you're in that team, you never, ever want to be a part of a team that holds those records that you don't want to hold. But hopefully they can draw on that Eden Park mana that it holds and get the job done on Saturday.
Are Are there any records that you hold that you're not proud of?
Oh, there's some moments I'm not proud of. I'll be completely honest. You just touched on that 2011 World Cup. Obviously before that in Argentina, did some things I wasn't proud of leading up to that quarterfinal, and then had an opportunity to repay the faith of the selectors, went out there and just put on a performance. So hopefully for me, I had that added edge that I needed to prove. Hopefully the lads, with seeing their brother, Quinn Tupaia, what he's had to go through, it's a tough time for him. Their captain, head knocks, David Harvey, concussions. There's just that added edge there that they can draw on. So, look, things happen for a reason that you're not proud of, but you look to use those to inspire. Look, I was lucky, mate. I had a pretty grateful career. I played with some of the greats, and I had a good time doing it. So it's pretty hard for me to watch the team that I love and cherish so much go through so much adversity. Some of it could have been avoided, I must say. It's not all performance-based. There's stuff going on in the background that's I'm pulling out my hair, and I don't have much of it at the moment. So you start to question a few things. But I still wear my silver fern on my sleeve and on my chest. I love them to bits.
Yeah, it sounds like we're all at least a little bit nervous about the game on Saturday night. And, I think we do have to give a bit of credit to the Wallabies, because aside from all the sideshows, shall we say, that were going on in Melbourne, there was a lot of great performances in gold jerseys. I think Pete Samu and Rob Valentini were absolutely immense. We're real massive fans of Rob on this podcast. You've played a lot of footy against Bernard Foley over the years, and he sort of slotted back into that back line quite nicely. What have you seen from Dave Rennie's men to sort of give you that bit of a nervous feeling going into this clash?
Well, it doesn't matter who's selected. Last week people were talking about the C team, and they've had so many injuries and adversity rolling through the squad. But it doesn't matter who's playing that jersey. This team is hungry. This team is hungry for success. And if probably a bit of controversy, barred them from getting that job done last week. So they are hungry to prove people wrong and to win back their nation. They're probably the fifth favourable sport in Australia at the moment, where they've gone from being number 2 with back in the day when the legends are playing, John Eales and Gregan and Larkin. So they want to win back their nation. And when a team's like that, they are hungry. And you're a bit wary of that. So I've been impressed. Bernard Foley, look, he probably hasn't had the success. I think he's played the All Blacks 15, 16 times. He's only won twice. But last week I saw signs. There was a couple of rope ball moments, a couple of little weary moments for his game. But I saw a bit of success. You get Rob Valentini. Man, he was huge in that loose forward trio, teaming up with Pete Samu. And I've known Pete. I played with him at the Crusaders, and he is a phenomenal athlete, mate. He is so fast. I actually messaged him after the game. I said, mate, can you just calm down, mate, and just cool your jets? Like, he's burning off Will Jordan, probably our quickest All Black at the moment. So, mate, they've got some talent, but they've got even more desire. And that worries me about this Australian side. And Dave Rennie, he really knows. You look what he did with the Chiefs. He obviously had Wayne Smith, the professor there, to help him. But, mate, Dave Rennie can get a team up, and he's doing it. And he's under a bit of pressure too, and they'll want to do it for him and repay his faith of making the decision to go coach Australia. So there's a reason why we're weary, lads. We've had so many years where we've been full of confidence, but at the moment there's just so much uncertainty, and it's worrying.
Mm. Can you give us your most favourite Bledisloe Cup game or moment that you were part of?
Oh, okay. One of them that really stands out was we played Australia 2016 actually, and I come back from missing selection for the 2015 World Cup. I nearly actually stepped away from the game and gave up rugby full time, because I was just sick of feeling like I felt down in the dumps. I was vulnerable. I felt like I had the weight of the nation on my shoulders. So the one that really stands out is 2016. Went to Australia. My granddad passed away. I played fullback. I didn't have a good first half. I was, a bit all over the show. Then I moved to the wing, got an opportunity to play on the wing. Went all right on the wing, and we actually won that game, and you had to win 2 to retain the Bledisloe. So the following week, I went back to Wellington, and I was in the toilet actually for, the day Tuesday, they named the team, and Steve Hansen usually knocks on your shoulder before the game. So you head into training, he'll tap you on the shoulder and say, if he taps you on the shoulder, you're not playing. So you try and avoid him like the play, you try and avoid him on Tuesdays. Just don't go there. Anyway, I avoided him, went to training. I went in the toilet, and I was just for training. And I was sitting there, and he comes in, Dagg. And I'm like, oh, yes. Oh, no, a big shoulder tap. I'm going to miss selection here. Yes, come out here. I was like, oh, okay. Walked out, did my business, walked out, and he goes, have you ever played wing? I was like, no. And he goes, well, you're starting on the wing. And I was like, I'm starting on the wing. He's like, yeah, you're starting on the wing. Ben Smith's going to fullback. And I was like, are you all right? He's like, man, if you can play fullback, you can play wing. And I was like, oh, holy heck. So that week, I got shafted into the wing position, playing against Australia and Wellington, trying to retain the Bledisloe. And that whole week, nervous as Anton Lennox-Brown's first game, Ryan Crotty, Sonny Bill got injured. So he got thrown into the limelight at a very novice time in his career. So that week I was on the edge, went out there in Wellington, big crowd, and scored the first try, and probably had my best game in the jersey for a very, very long time. And got the job done, scored 2 tries. And so here's me just having a lot of apprehension of how I'm going to go on the wing, to actually starting to believe in myself and put in the performance. And we won that game convincingly, got the job done, and I got to drink out of the Bledisloe Cup in Wellington, fill it up with a few Steinlagers and enjoy the moment. So that's one that really stands out for me. Got shafted into a position that I was, unaccustomed to, and went on and wow, after that, I was a fully fledged winger for the rest of the year. So I'd rather play fullback, but I really enjoyed my time on the wing. So that's one that really stands out for my personals, the way that I handle things. And just, mate, anytime you get to drink out of the bled, I drank out of it a few times. I was very, very lucky, but that's one that really stands out for me.
That's awesome. How about you blokes? You guys, I'm sure.
I haven't drunk out of the Bledisloe Cup.
I've drunk out of the JC Bowl. They're pretty good out of that, but I'm sure not quite the same as the Bledisloe.
I was just going to say, you've obviously played against Australia a few times. Just to clarify, that's you. Even playing in Australia, you never lost a game to them.
No, never lost in Australia and at home. So we drew one in Brisbane on Kevin Mealam's game. So I was lucky. On the 2011. Just for the World Cup, we lost in Brisbane, but I was in the stands on the radio doing some commentary, so I never played that game. But yeah, never lost, and never lost to Ireland too. So
Argentina,
Argentina.
Are you going to be in the stands doing the radio this weekend?
No. I'm actually just going to walk home, lads. But no, I lost to South Africa and England. Those are the teams I lost to.
And in your games against Australia, was there one player that stands out as the toughest or the best you played against?
There's plenty, but Adam Cooper was pretty hard. He was always on his game and really cherished my moments playing against him. But Israel Folau, probably. Folau coming back from league, watching what he did in the game of league, I was a little bit weary. I was like, wow, how am I going to go? Like when you're watching him, the way he leaped for the ball and did his game, you're just a bit nervous. So I had some pretty good battles with Israel Folau and really enjoyed those moments because just the athlete he is and the player. So for me, Folau would have to be one. Quade Cooper, just didn't know what Quade was going to do, so you had to plan for everything, but just hope. But yeah, Quade or Israel Folau would be the two that really stand out.
I'm not sure Quade knew what he was going to do sometimes, to be fair.
That's the magic of it, right? If you don't know what you're going to do,
it just happened. Yeah. And sometimes it was brilliant, and sometimes it wasn't so brilliant. But you mentioned back in 2015, you were sort of at a low, I guess, and thinking about giving the game away. Did you talk to anyone about that, or was there something that turned you around, or was it, 2060 came up and I just had a good season and I felt good again. How did that, go about?
It's a good question. It's one I've spoken about a wee bit. Look, when I got that call from Steve saying I missed out, I just felt deflated and I just didn't feel good about myself. And, you just feel like you've let everyone down, your family, your friends. So I'll never forget that moment. But in all honesty, it happened for a reason, and it probably happened for the right reason too, because I wasn't playing, mate. I wasn't playing well, and I was struggling with injuries, confidence. I'm a confidence player, a confidence person. If things are going well, mate, you good luck stopping me, because that's just how it goes. So I was lacking confidence. So for the person I spoke to was my wife. She was there. She copped it all. And look, as soon as it happened, I said to her, look, I'm done. I'm sick of feeling like this. I'm sick of walking down the street, looking at a random on the street and them looking at me, and I'm thinking, man, they just think I'm useless. They think I'm hopeless. They think I've let the whole nation down. Like, look, that's Israel Dagg, that's useless and missed out on the World Cup. So that's what was going through my head. But I spoke to her about it and said, I'm done. I want to quit and I just want to be normal. But she said, no, shut up. Pull your head in, just like good old wives do, just bring you back to reality. And she said, Israel, look, just take a break from the game, just breathe. Let's have a moment and let's just see where it goes. And then if in a couple of months' time, if you're not feeling it, we'll just make that decision. But right now, just breathe. So I breathed and had a moment. I went back and played for Hawke's Bay and enjoyed my time back in the Bay in the Black and White Hoops, a team that I hold close to my heart. They gave me my chance. It was awesome to go back and relive those moments. But towards the end of the season, I actually dislocated my shoulder. And, I had to go get surgery. I was out of the game for 6 months. So that was probably a blessing in disguise. After that happened, I had a lot of time on my plate to go away, sort my mind out, sort out who I am, sort out why I play this game. And that was crucial to my success going forward. I went away to America with my family and friends. We had a good time. I came back, didn't even watch the 2015 World Cup. Enjoyed it. Came back, just really knuckled down on my rehab. Figured out who I am and what I'm about. My wife got pregnant, so that really changed my perspective on life. I've got a little family coming up, so it just really shrunk my circle and shrunk what I was about and why I played this game. Before then, I was playing for 5.5 million people. And when you drop the ball, 5.5 million people on your shoulders, it's tough. That's a tough. You can't do it. It's unattainable. So for me, I shrunk my circle. What really matters to me, my family, my kids, mum and dad. And that just really put in perspective of why I play this game. You can't please everyone. Not everyone's going to love you, and that's okay. So I went away, just really knuckled down, found the love for the game again, came back. My body was flying. I felt really good. And that's the thing when you're playing professional sport, you could just get into a cycle and the cycle just gets a bit repetitive. So for me, 6 months away, I went away and just worked really hard on my conditioning, my mental toughness, my body, and life's balance. So that really helped me get through. And then I came back. I didn't have a care in the world. I didn't care if I dropped the ball. I didn't care if I missed a tackle. But I just went out there and just let it all go and let it all out. And I came back and I'll say it, I had the best year in the black jersey, best year in the red jersey I've ever had. So I had to put it back to my wife and particularly my family for just inspiring me and giving me the confidence to go away and find the love again.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that really puts things in perspective, especially I suppose with sort of a few of the struggles the All Blacks are going through at the moment. All those blokes have got a lot going on outside the white lines.
That's the thing, like these players, they don't go out there to intentionally miss a tackle or drop the ball and do things. So we're at a situation now where they're getting ridiculed, and we don't want to ridicule them. We want to inspire them and support them. So if you're watching, just be wary that they do have family and they do listen, they do hear, and they do read. So if you don't have anything nice to say, probably don't say it at all. But, you can have your opinion, but there's ways around wording it, I feel.
I think as a whole, the country, there's one game that'll get us all together, right? It's beating the Aussies at Eden Park.
Come on. What are our odds, boys? Like, what are we thinking? Who's going to get the first try? That's what I want to know. Give me a first try. No deductions. What's wrong with you, Theo?
Let's fired him up. Yeah.
And don't forget the $5,000 bonus bets as well, Izzy. You might find one in your account.
Wow, please, Bully Moari, you've given me nothing.
I'm a bit like Beaver.
Buddy, all the same, aren't you?
Poor Stephen Donald catching strays when he's not even on the podcast. But not the biggest odds though for the All Blacks.
$1.18?
Yeah, $1.18 to win the game. You can get $1.67, 13 plus. Maybe we can find a bit more value in those sort of try scorer marks and whatnot. I know there's someone you've got your eye on to grab a meat pie on Saturday night, is he? Who are you circling?
Look, I've been hounding Will Jordan. I said, mate, you haven't scored a try for a very, very long time. Come on, mate. You usually the money. You're usually the banker that you can rely on to get a dot. So I'm predicting Will Jordan to get the first try on Saturday. He's due one. He's due a first try, and hopefully he gets that done. So Will Jordan will be my one.
A Crusader on the right wing scoring the first try in the Bledisloe Test in New Zealand. Where have we seen that before?
Oh, I'm not one-eyed, but I'll stay red and black. Yeah, Crusaders.
Well, we'll chuck Will Jordan in our little pick and go same game multi we put together.
Hey, give us a couple of juicy power plays, will you, with Will Jordan, and then that'll entice me. I love it.
We'll pass it on to the bookies. Hopefully,
See if we can get some boosted odds.
My dad got one last week. He got Samasoni Tokiahau to get first, second, or third, and the All Blacks win to score 30 plus points, $8. He got on that. That was a great one.
There was a few punches that had some all right clicks from that power play from memory, actually. So
I think there are a number of power plays that collected last weekend, to be fair. So, yeah, well done to your dad. Maybe you should be asking for tips from him, not from us.
I know. I need to ask someone because I'm horrible at it. Please, someone help me.
We'll make an effort to get Mr. Dagg on the podcast next week, maybe. See what he can offer the punters.
The point starts at 15.5. Izzy, what are you taking? Taking the All Blacks minus 15.5, or you're going to be a bit closer?
Oh, nah, yeah, I'll take that. Look, obviously, I'm a little bit wary, but I'm drawing on that Eden Park factor, and I'm drawing on that just proving a point and just really repaying the public's faith. So, yeah, minus 15.5 for me, All Blacks. Let's get it, eh?
Providing the All Blacks win this week, that'll make them one win closer to the elusive 50 wins in a row at Eden Park. We're currently sitting at 48, so it'd be a hell of a achievement, really, wouldn't it? When you're dating back, 36 years, is it?
I'm sure we can come up with some sort of 50-related promotion for that. Should the All Blacks get the job done on Saturday night?
A few $50 bonus bets for Izzy. He'd be happy.
Please. That'll be really appreciated, lads.
We'll see what we can do. But I feel like that's a good sort of positive note to end the podcast for this week on. You've really got the boys up and about after that, Izzy. So, yeah, appreciate all the insight you've shared there. That was great insight into the life of an All Black and what it means to wear the black jersey and take on the Wallabies and period Eden Park. So it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Great insight once again. And thank you to the two gentlemen to my left as well. Always great to get stuck into the hot topics with you, Paul and Richard.
Yep, Izzy, you're always welcome to come to Wellington to have a look at the log of wood anytime you like.
You might only have 2 days to do it. So
I reckon I better get my flight there now because it's going soon, isn't it? Hey, lads, I appreciate your time. It's a special moment in the black jersey. You play against Australia anytime you cherish it. So let's really rally behind the lads, Fozzie and co, and just inspire these boys to get the job done. It's going to be a hell of a battle. I've had plenty against Australia, but let's draw on that record at Eden Park and get the job done. But thanks for your time, lads. Appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Cheers, mate.